What is up, you guys? Thank you for joining me again. Now in this video we are going to be covering the first subtopic of chapter 2, which is quadratic functions. So without further ado, let us get started. Solve the following quadratic equations by using completing the square method. Give your answers in 3 decimal place. So they want you to solve using completing the square method, and you want to leave it in 3 decimal places. So these 2 points are very important. So for you to start solving the quadratic equations, right, the first thing you have to know is the format. So for every quadratic equation, if you want to use completing the square, the value in front here, right, so a quadratic is a standard form is like this: x plus c equals to 0. So the value of a must always be 1. Okay, so it has to be a standalone x square. It has to be an x square. It cannot have 2x or or 3x. You cannot have that. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is eliminate the 4 in front. Okay, you don't want to have the 4 in front. So what you're going to do is you're going to divide the whole thing, divide it by 4. Okay, when you divide by 4, you're going to get x squared minus 8 over 4 x plus 1 over 4 equals to 0. Because 0 divided by 4, you still get 0. So you just write there 0. So now you're going to simplify this: minus 2x plus 1 over 4 equals to 0. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to write the first 2 in front here. Okay, the x square value and the x value. So x squared minus 2x. Then you're going to add this plus 2 brackets square. Okay, and then you write the last number here, which is plus 1 over 4 equals to 0. So you're going to write this. Okay, and what are you going to add in the bracket? So first thing you want to add is you want to make sure you have is a fraction. Okay, it's going to be a fraction, and the denominator is always going to be 2. So next, what are you going to put up here? What's the numerator? So what you're going to put up there is this value, the x value. Okay, so here is negative 2. So you're going to put negative 2, negative 2. So the format is always the same. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to factorize this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to factorize. It's actually very easy. How you don't have to use a calculator, right? It's a format. What you're going to do is you're going to write a bracket here. You're going to put a square. Okay, this x square, when you factorize, it becomes x, right? Because when you expand this bracket, you will get the x square, correct? So here you just write x. On the right hand side here, you're going to put whatever you find here. Okay, so since negative 2 over 2, you're going to get negative 1. Okay, so this is how you factorize. You don't have to use your calculator, expand this and factorize. You don't have to, right? Just remember this format. Next, you're going to count this part. Okay, so negative 2 over 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 square, you get positive 1. So it's minus 1 plus 1 over 4 equals to 0. So now, because they ask you to solve, correct? So you want to find the value of x, correct? So for you to find the value of x, you have to shift everything else to the right. Okay, so you're going to shift 1 by 1. So x minus 1 square equals to 1 minus 1 over 4. So here you get 3 over 4, correct? So it's 0.75. I'm going to use decimal because it's going to be much easier. So you're going to get x minus 1 equals to 0.75. Now, this is a square, correct? So if you bring it to the other side, it becomes square root. And when it is a square root, remember there is always plus minus. So in other words, you will have 2 answers. First answer is when this answer is positive, and the second answer is when this answer is negative. So I'm going to show you here. Okay, so the first one is x1, right? It's going to be positive square root 0.75 plus 1. Alright, so what is your x1? And then you're going to have the second one, x2 is equals to negative 0.75 square root plus 1. So your answer here should be 1.866, and here you should get 0.134, right? So remember, you have to leave it in 3 decimal places, right? So your answer is 2. Clear? Now we're going to do another example so that you can understand better. So now you have a negative 2 in front, correct? A negative 2. So the first thing you want to do is remove that negative 2. So what are you going to do? You're going to divide this whole thing by negative 2. Okay, so what do you have left? X squared plus 7 over negative 2 x plus 6 over negative 2 equals to 0. Okay, so you're going to simplify this. You're going to get x squared minus 7 over 2x minus 6 divided by 2, you get 3 equals to 0. Now you start with the completing the square method. So you're going to write the first two value, which is the x square and the x value. So you're going to write there x squared minus 7 over 2x plus 1 bracket here square and minus 1 bracket here square, and then you write the back number here, which is negative 3 equals to 0. Okay, so what are you going to put in the bracket? So remember, it's going to be a fraction, and the fraction denominator is going to be 2. Okay, it's always going to be 2. Alright, so this is the method of using completing the square. So it's always going to be 2. So what are you going to put up here? So you're going to use the value that belongs to x. So the x value is this, okay, which is negative 7 over 2. So you're going to put that negative 7 over 2. Negative 7 over 2. Right? Now don't worry about all this. We'll make it easier. Alright? So here, you're going to combine them, factorize. You're going to get x. Wait, so you put a bracket first, put a square up here. So this x will become, x squared will become x. And then on the right, you're going to put whatever you find here. Okay? So in this case, it's going to be negative 7 over 2 divided by 2, you get 7 over 4. Alright? Minus, same thing, you're going to get negative 7 over 4. But since you got a square here, so 7 over 4 square, you get 49 over 16 minus 3 equals to 0. So again, you want to solve this quadratic equation. So you have to bring everything else to the right, right, for you to solve x. So x minus 7 over 4 square, you bring everything to the right, you get 49 over 16 plus 3. Now, I don't want you guys to expand this, okay? I know some people, I don't know why they get confused and they tend to expand this. Now, if you expand this, you're going back to the original equation, which is what you don't want, right? So don't expand it. So you bring everything to the right one by one. So now you're going to have x minus 7 over 4 equals to, now square, if you bring the other side, it becomes square root. So you should get 97 over 16, and then you're going to square root this. Okay, once you bring the square to the other side, it becomes square root. So now, because it's square root, you got plus minus here. Okay, so you're going to have two answers. The first answer is x1. x1 is equals to positive 97 over 16 plus 7 over 4. Right, so you get one answer here. And then you're going to have another one, which is x2. You get negative 97 over 16 minus, sorry, not minus, it's plus 7 over 4. Right, so you're going to have two answers. So the first answer, x1, is going to be 4.212. And the second answer here is going to be negative 0.712. Right? So that's how you solve completing the square. Right, next. Solve the following quadratic equations by using formula. Give your answers in 3 decimal places. So again, now they're saying formula. So what is the formula? There's a quadratic formula. The formula is x, to find x, is equals to negative b plus minus 4, sorry, b square, not 4. It's going to be b square minus 4ac, square root the whole thing, divide by 2a. Okay, this is the quadratic formula to solve x, to find x. Alright, so now we're going to use this formula to solve the value of x for these two equations. Okay, so number one, the first thing you have to do is, before you start using the formula, expand this. You want it to be in the form of the actual quadratic standard form of quadratic function. So you're going to be like this. Okay, you need to find what's the value of a, what's the value of b, what's the value of c, to substitute into the formula. Right, so first thing is expand this. So x square minus x minus 3x plus 3 equals to 5. So x square minus 4x, so 3, and then you're going to bring this 5 over there, so it's going to be negative 5. So you'll get plus 3 minus 5, you get minus 2. So from here, you've already found your a, b, c value. So a is equals to 1, b is equals to negative 4, and c is equals to negative 2. So now you can start using the formula. So what is x? X is equals to minus b. So minus b is negative 4, plus minus square root b square. So what is b? Negative 4 square, minus 4a is 1, c is negative 2. Square root the whole thing over 2a. What is a? A is 1. Okay, so you're gonna simplify this. You get 4 plus minus, so you're gonna count whatever's inside here. You should get 24 over 2. Right, so now again you're gonna have two answers, plus and minus. Right, you got plus and minus, so there are two possible answers. The first possible answer, x1, will be 4 plus square root 24 over 2, and x2 is going to be 4 minus square root 24 over 2. Okay, you will have two answers because it's plus minus, so your answer should be 4.449 and negative 0.449. Right, so this is your answers. Next, let's solve the second one. 2x minus 3 square equals to 6. So the first thing you have to do, you have to expand this to the standard form, right? The standard quadratic function form. Only then you get your value of a, value of b, and value of c. So first thing, expand. So 2x, you get 4x square minus 12x plus 9. So equals to 6. So you're gonna bring it in, minus 12x plus 9 minus 6, you get plus 3 equals to 0. Okay, so this is the quadratic form, right? The standard form. So a is equals to 4, b is equals to negative 12, c is equals to 3. Now you can use your formula. So x is equals to negative b. So negative, what is b? B is negative 12 plus minus square root b square. So b square is negative 12 square minus 4 ac. A is also 4, c is 3. So you're going to square root this whole thing over 2a. What is a? A is 4. Okay, so you're going to expand this. You get 12 plus minus square root 96 over 8. So again, you're going to get two answers, x1 and x2. x1 is going to be equals to 12 plus square root 96 over 8, and you're going to have another answer, which is x2 is 12 minus square root 96 divided by 8. So your answer is 2.725 and 0.275, right? So this is your answer. Right, next, the length of a diagonal of a rectangle is 10 cm. If the length is 2 cm longer than its width, find the length and width of the rectangle. So first thing, they will draw your triangle, your rectangle. Okay, so they're saying that there is a rectangle. We got a rectangle here, and this rectangle, the diagonal length, that means this length here, is 10 cm. Okay, if the length is 2 cm longer than the width, so since they're giving you this, so you can assume, let's say the width is x. Okay, if width is x, what is the length? X plus 2, because it's 2 cm longer, correct? So x plus 2. So find the length and the width of the rectangle. So you want to find, so this is length. Okay, length is equals to x plus 2, this is the width. So you want to find this. So first thing, you have to form your equation. So what's your equation? So equation is going to be Pythagoras theorem, right? You can actually use Pythagoras theorem. So length square plus width square equals to 10 square, correct? That's the hypotenuse. The 10 cm is the hypotenuse. So what is length? Length is x plus 2 square plus width is x square equals to 100. Okay, so you got that. Now you're going to expand this. So x square plus 4x plus 4 plus x square equals to 100. So you get 2x square plus 4x plus 4, sorry, not plus 4, plus 4, and then you bring the 100 to the on the left. So plus 4 minus 100, you get negative 96. Now you can simplify this. Okay, you can, first thing, you can actually just divide the whole thing by 2, and then you can factorize, or you can straight away use your calculator to factorize. So I'm going to show you I will simplify it first, right? So I divide by 2, you're going to get x squared plus 2x minus 96 divided by 2, you get 48 equals 0. So now you can factorize. So you should get 2 brackets equals 0. So you should get x minus 6, x plus 8, right? So from here you can say that x is equals to 6 or negative 8. Now question is, do you think negative 8 makes sense? Can a length be negative 8? Of course not. So negative 8 is invalid. You cannot use negative 8. So you only use x equals to 6. Alright, so you can say x is equals to 6. So they want you to find width. Width is equals to the x value, which is 6 cm. And then length is equals to x plus 2. So x is what? 6 plus 2. Answer is 8 cm. Alright, so this is how you solve. Question B. Find the measurement of a rectangle with a perimeter 26 cm and an area of 40 cm square. So again, same thing, you got a rectangle. Okay, now let's assume that you have x, let's say this is x and this is y. Okay, so find the measurement of the rectangle with perimeter. So to find, first thing, how do you form a perimeter? Perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width equals to 26. Okay, next thing, you got the area. So how do you find area? Area is x times y is equals to 40. Now how are you going to solve this? This is actually very straightforward. So you're just going to find the value of x first. So 40 over y. So you're going to substitute this into your this equation here, right? So you get 2 40 over y plus 2y equals to 26. So you will get 80 over y, but I'm not going to write 80 over y. The thing is, because we can't leave y in as a denominator, right? It's very hard for you to solve. So what are you going to do? You're going to change everything so that you eliminate y as a denominator. So what you're going to do is, you're going to multiply this whole thing, multiply by y. Okay, so when you multiply, guess what happens to the y at the bottom? It gets cancelled out. So what you have left is 80 plus 2y square equals to 26y. Okay, so now it's a quadratic equation. You just have to simplify it, arrange it. So 2y square minus 26y plus 80 equals to 0. So same thing, you can actually simplify this by dividing all of the numbers by 2. Okay, so you get y square minus 13y plus 40 equals to 0. So now you can factorize. So you should get y minus 8 and y minus 5. So what's your y value? Y can be either 8 cm or y can be equals to 5 cm. So either way, okay. So let's say if, I'm going to change color here, if y equals to 8 cm, what is your x value? 40 over 8, correct? So answer is 5 cm. So you actually getting back the similar answer. So if y is equals to 5 cm, what's your x value? X is equals to 40 over 5, you should get 8 cm. So in other words, you can say that the length is 8 cm and the width, which is y, is 5 cm. Right? So this is your answer. Right? Next. The quadratic equations x squared plus p minus 5x plus 2q is equals to 0 has roots of minus 3 and 6. Find the value of p and q. So they gave you the roots. What is roots? Roots means the x value. Okay, the x value. So in other words, they are telling you x1 is equals to negative 3, x2 is equals to 6. Okay, so you got two values here. Now, there are many ways to solve this. Okay, there are actually many ways to solve this. But I'm going to show you two very simple ways. I'll try to keep it as simple as possible. Okay, first thing you have to understand is that how do you form a quadratic equation, right? This is how you do it. X squared minus, this is what we call as SOR. What is SOR? SOR stands for sum of roots. Okay, so in other words, you're taking the sum of the roots, which is these two. Okay, so that's the first way. I'm sorry, you haven't finished the equation yet. So it is SORX plus POR. So what is POR? POR is the product of roots equals to 0. So you can solve by using this format. Okay, so first thing what you're going to do is, you already know that the x1 and x2, the two roots is given to you, correct? So you're going to use sum of roots equals to negative 3 plus 6. Answer is positive 3. And the product of root is equals to negative 3 times 6. Answer is negative 18. Alright, so you already got these two. So your equation is going to be x squared minus positive 3, so I just write 3x plus minus 18 equals to 0. So it's going to be 18 equals 0. So this is your equation. So you want to compare this with the one that is given to you. So what is given to you? What is given to you is x squared plus p minus 5x plus 2q equals to 0. Right? So you got two equations here for you to solve. So what are you going to compare? So first thing is, these two is already the same. So you can just ignore that. So what is next? The x value, correct? So the x value is here negative 3, here is p minus 5. And then here the q value is positive 2q is the same as negative 18. So you're going to solve using that. So first thing, p minus 5 is equals to negative 3. So p is equals to negative 3 plus 5, answer is 2. What about q? So 2q is equals to negative 18. So q is equals to negative 9. So you have found the value of P and Q. Now there's also another method if you don't want to memorize all this, but I suggest you at least know this, okay? Because you're going to be using this in a lot of questions. You have to use this, right? So better to know this. Another way you can solve, I'm going to show you a method too. Another way you can solve, you know that, you say usually what we are given, right, is like this: ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. And when this happens, what you're going to do is you're going to factorize, correct? You're going to have two brackets equals to 0. So you're going to get x, say x minus 1 or x plus 2, and then you find out that x equals to 1 and x is equals to negative 2. So these are your roots, correct? These are your roots. So now, instead of solving it like this, from top to bottom, they have given you the root. So in other words, you are starting from here, and what you can do is you want to find this. So you want to work backwards, okay? So that's what you're going to do here. You're going to work backwards. So how you're going to solve that is, since you know x is equals to negative 3, so in other words, the first bracket here is x plus 3 equals to 0. The second one, x equals to 6. So x minus 6 equals to 0. So now you already form your two brackets like this, right? Similar to this. Okay, so you're going to put them together. So x plus 3, x minus 6 equals to 0. Now you can expand. So you get x squared plus 3x minus 6x plus is minus 18 equals to 0. So x squared minus 3x minus 18 equals 0. So if you notice, you see here, this equation is the exact same equation as this. Correct? It's the exact same equation as the two sides are the same. So what you're going to do is, same thing you're going to do like this. You're just going to compare. So in the end, you will still get the same answer, right? You're going to compare with x squared plus p minus 5x plus 2q equals 0. So what they have in common is, this one, they have to compare together, and this one you have to compare together. So in the end, you still get the same answer. P minus 5 equals to negative 3. So P is equals to 2. 2Q is equals to negative 18. So Q is equals to negative 9. Right? So that's how you solve this kind of question. Right? Next. If alpha and beta are the roots of the quadratic equation 5x squared minus 10x minus 9 equals 0, form quadratic equations with the following roots. So they want you to form a quadratic equation using these roots. So first of all, what is all this alpha beta thing? So first thing you have to understand this. They said that alpha and beta are the roots of this quadratic equation. So usually when you have a quadratic equation, you know that you can factorize this. Okay, you're going to get x something, and then you know x is equals to something, x is equals to something. So these are the roots, correct? So now they're telling you the roots here is what? Alpha and beta. Okay, so that means we know that x1 is equals to alpha and x2 is equals to beta. Okay, so now using this, you're going to find a new quadratic equation for this. So how do you solve this? So what we're going to do is we're going to first change this into the format that I told you. So the format I told you was x squared minus the sum of root x plus product of root equals to 0. Now, like I said, there are many ways to solve this, but I'm going to use this because I don't want to confuse you guys with too many formulas. Okay, there is one more formula, but I'm not going to show you guys here. So by using this, how are you going to compare? First thing, this one you have 5x squared minus 10x minus 9 equals to 0. Okay, now you've already gotten this, correct? How do you make this into this format? By making the value here become 1. So to make it become 1, you just have to divide the whole thing by 5. So you get x squared minus 10 divided by 5 is 2x minus 9 over 5 equals to 0. Now you can start to compare, right? You can compare this equation and this equation. So what can you know from this? So you know that SOR is equals to 2, correct? And POR is equals to this, negative 9 over 5. Okay, now the thing is, this based on this equation, they told you that the two roots are what? Alpha and beta, correct? So the original form is the sum of root is x1 plus x2 equals to 2. And this one is x1 times x2 equals to negative 9 over 5. That's the original way of you writing it. But because now they are telling you what? They're telling you that alpha is, the roots are alpha and beta, correct? So in other words, x1 is equals to alpha and x2 is equals to beta, correct? Because these are the roots, correct? So you can say alpha plus beta is equals to 2, and alpha times beta, that means alpha beta, equals to negative 9 over 5. Okay, now you have already found this equation, these two equations. So now you can form your new quadratic equation. So how are you going to solve? So number 1, A, you want to use this format. Okay, this format. Okay, so the format is, first thing, what is SOR? Sum of root is equals to, so now you're given the two new roots, right? So A plus 2 plus A, not A, is alpha. So this is beta plus 2 equals to alpha plus beta plus 4. Okay, see, this is based on the roots that they gave, right? Because we want to form a new quadratic equation. So now you've already gotten this. But what is this? You can substitute, right? What? Because you've already found here. Alpha plus beta is x. Alpha plus beta is equals to 2. So this part here, you're going to substitute 2 plus 4. Answer is 6. What about POR? POR is alpha plus 2 multiply beta plus 2. So you get alpha beta plus 2 alpha plus 2 beta plus 4. Okay, so what is alpha beta? You already got it here, correct? So just substitute. So you get negative 9 over 5. Now here you don't have alpha and beta on its own, but you can factorize these two. So when you factorize, it gets 2 alpha plus beta plus 4, correct? So now you can substitute this, which is 2. So negative 9 over 5 plus 2 times 2 plus 4. So when you count this, you should get 31 over 5. Okay, now you've already gotten 31 over 5. How can you form your equation? So I'm going to write here because I've got no space there. So your new equation, quadratic equation, is x squared minus, because you're following this format, right? So just substitute your SOR. SOR is 6x plus POR is 31 over 5 equals to 0. So now you got a fraction here, correct? So to eliminate the fraction, you just multiply the whole thing by 5. So you get 5x squared minus 30x plus 31 equals to 0. So this is your answer. So in general, what I did was I used this equation, right? I make it into this format, okay? And then I compare with this equation to find my SOR and POR, okay? So I've already gotten SOR is 2, POR is this. Now, based on this equation, I want to use my roots, the roots which was given to you for this equation, substitute to get this. So this would be, you're going to use this to solve both A and B, question A and question B. Alright, so I've already solved question A for you. Question A is, find the SOR and the POR again, but using the new root. Okay, once you have found them, you can substitute into this formula to get your equation, your new quadratic equation. Alright, so I hope you understand this now. Let's solve B. Same thing, start with SOR. SOR is 5 alpha plus 5 beta. So you can factorize, you get 5 alpha plus beta. So what is alpha plus beta? Is 2. So 5 times 2, answer is 10. Now you're going to find POR. 5 alpha multiply 5 beta. So 5 times 5, 25 alpha beta, which is equals to negative 9 over 5. So 25 times negative 9 over 5, you should get negative 45. Okay, so now you can form your new equation, which is x square minus SOR is 10, x plus POR is negative 45 equals to 0. So x square minus 10x minus 45 equals to 0. So this is your new quadratic equations. Solve each of the following quadratic inequalities by using graph sketching method, number line method, or table method. So now, this is quadratic inequalities. So it's not the same as how you usually solve quadratic equation. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to solve this. There are 3 ways I'm going to show. First is sketching method, then the second is number line method, and the third one is table method. Okay, personally I think the easiest is still sketching method, right? It's actually very straightforward. So I'm going to show you how to do this. First thing, you want to make your equation in terms of something equals to 0, okay, or less than 0, or more than 0, or less than equals to 0, or more than equals to 0. You want it to be in that form. So you're going to shift everything to the left. Okay, so first thing, x square minus 4x plus 12 less than equals to 12. Less than equals to 0. Okay, you want it in this format. This is the first thing you need to know. Make it this format. Second thing you need to know is always make your front value here become a positive, right? Your x square value, right? This a here, this value a, make it become a positive. The reason is because when you make it into a positive, it becomes so much easier. Okay, it becomes so much easier for you to solve it. Okay, if you make it negative, it's going to be much complicated. So I suggest make it into positive. So now, once you have done this, you can factorize. So you're going to factorize this. You should get 2 brackets less than equals to 0. So what's the bracket? Bracket is x minus 6 x plus 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this one, because for me to solve this is not as straightforward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this become an equal sign first. Okay, so x minus 6 x plus 2 equals to 0. I'm going to make it this form. Okay, so x is equals to 6 and x is equals to negative 2. Once you have gotten this, now you can start solving using your either sketching method or number line method or table method. Okay, so I'm going to do one by one for you. So let me show you here. A, sketching method. So how do you use sketching method? Now, because it is a positive, you see, I told you guys to change to positive, right? So since it's already positive, there's nothing to change. But since it is a positive, the graph you're going to have is a positive quadratic graph, correct? It's a U shape. Okay, if it's a negative, it's going to be an N shape, but I don't want it to be an N shape. Always use a U shape. Alright, so it's going to be a positive graph. So positive graph, you got x here negative 2 and x here 6. So since this is a number line, this is the x-axis, you must know that the smaller number has to be in front. So here is going to be -2, here is going to be 6. Now how are you going to solve this? It's very simple. When you just look at this symbol here, okay, if the symbol is less than or less than equal to, you take this part. Okay, now I repeat, if the symbol is less than or less than equal to, take the middle section. Okay, if it is more than or more than equal to, take this section, these two. Alright, so what does that mean? It means if you take these two section, right, if you take this section, it becomes x, -2 and 6, right, because it's in between -2 and 6. So negative x in between -2 and 6, but since here is less than equal to, so I'm going to use less than equal to here. Okay, make sure you follow the sign that they are using. Okay, if it is more than or more than equal to, so you have two answers now. One is this part, which is x less than -2, less than equal, sorry, and the second answer here should be x more than equals to 6. Okay, because it is more than 6. Okay, so there are two possible answers for this case, but for this case you only have one answer. Okay, so now in this case, since they are showing what, less than equal to, correct, less than equal to, so because of that your answer is which one? It shouldn't be the one with two answers, it should be this. This is your answer. Okay, I just did all this to show you guys, right? You don't have to show in exam, okay, because it is not what they are asking for. Alright, so that is for the first question. So sketching method is actually very easy. You just have to see whether it's less than or more than. Okay, if it's less than or less than equal to, take the middle section and your answer will be in between. If it is more than or more than equals to, then you have two answers. One is this area and this area. So you have two answers. Okay, so now let's solve the second part, B, number line method. Okay, so number line method. So how are you going to solve number line method? You are going to solve by using obviously a number line. So you got a number line here. So first thing, you're going to draw a dotted line here and another dotted line here. So what is the value? What number is going to be here on these two? Because this is a number line, right? So what is going to be here? The first part here is going to be -2, because that's what you found here, right? -2. So the other one here is going to be 6. Okay, so this is your two number lines. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find the possible values for each of this range. So you know that this part is going to be x less than equals to -2. Here is going to be x more than equals to 6. Here is going to be between, so that means between -2 or 6. So it's up to you. What value do you want to use? Let's say I'm taking this value here, x equals to -5, let's say. Okay, and then here I'm going to take x equals to 0. Here I'm going to take x is equals to 10, because I'm fulfilling this range, right? So these are the values that I choose. Okay, it's up to you. You can decide what value you want to use. So what you're going to do is you're going to substitute this, each of this value, substitute into your equation, which is what you found here. Substitute into your equation, and what do you get? That's what you want to find out. You want to know, are you getting a positive value or you're getting a negative value? That's what you want to find out. Okay, so first thing, if I substitute -5, so -5 minus 6 and -5 plus 2. So my answer, okay, all this, by the way, you don't have to write, okay? I'm just showing you guys. You don't have to write. You just have to write all this, and then, write this range here, and then choose what value that you want to use, and then you just have to determine whether it's a positive or negative value. So in this case, negative 5 minus 6, you get negative 11 times negative 3. So your answer should be positive 33. So because it's a positive 33, you know that this value here is a positive. Okay, so now what about the second part? So the second part, x equals 0. So I'm going to do a bit faster, okay, so that you don't have to spend too much time calculating. So x equals 0, you get negative 6 times positive 2. So you should get negative 6 times positive 2, you should get negative 12. So this is a negative value. What about the other side? X equals to 10. So 10 minus 6, you get 4. 10 plus 2, you get 12. 12 times 4, 48. So it's a positive 48. So it is more than 0. This one is less than 0. So because of that, this one here is going to be a positive. Okay. So the question is, which one are you going to take? So you've already found these three, correct? So now, what you're going to do is, you're going to base on the equation that you have. So in this case is less than equal to. So less than equal to 0. So it has to be a negative value, correct? If your equation is less than equal to 0, it means it has to be a negative value. So because it's a negative value, you have to take this negative part, right? You have to take this negative value. So what's the answer for this? So the answer is negative 2, x, and 6. So you notice that this answer is the same as this, correct? You should get the same answer for all, okay? So basically this is how you do, right? So let me just recap. You want to form your number line, put the 2x value that you have found here, okay? Put it there. Of course, based on number line, yeah? So that means the smaller number should be in front and the bigger number should be behind, okay? Then you form your range. So in this case here is going to be more than 6, here is going to be less than negative 2, and here is going to be in between negative 2 and 6, okay? So you just estimate a value. Since it's less than negative 2, so I'm taking negative 5. Here is between negative 2 and 6, so I'm taking 0, and then here I'm taking 10 because it's more than 6, okay? So it's up to you what value that you want. So once you have gotten this assumption, right, this what you assume, right, the number is, you're going to substitute into your actual equation to find out whether the answer you get is a positive or a negative value, and then you just draft it here, positive or negative, okay? Write it there, and then you have to decide, should you take positive value or negative value? Since in this case the question here is less than equals to 0, so it means the answer you should have is negative, okay? Negative value. So because it is a negative value, you take this column, okay? So the answer is this, negative 2 and 6, right? So it's in between. Alright, clear? So now the last part. Now I hope you guys understand this, because no worries if you don't understand, we have another question after this, okay? So question C, which is, what is this? Table method. So table method, of course you have to draw a table. So you have a table here. So you're going to have 4 rows, 4 columns, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now what are you going to fill up in each of these columns? So the first 3 here, you're going to put in the brackets that you have found. So here is the first bracket, this is the second bracket, okay? So here is going to be x minus 6, that's the first bracket. Here is going to be x plus 2. What about the last one? The last one is you're going to combine them. So x minus 6, x plus 2, okay? So these 3 is done. Now you're going to fill up the next 3 here. So similar to the number line method, you're going to fill up the range, okay? You're going to fill up the range. So you know that -2 is here and 6 is here. So here is going to be x in between 6 and -2. Here is going to be x less than equals to -2, and here is going to be x more than equals to 6. Okay, so now what you are going to do is actually very similar to the number line. You're going to pick a value that is similar to this range. Okay, so in this case, x is less than -2. So same thing, if let's say I take x equals to -5, x equals to here, x equals 0, x equals to 10, you want to find out what is the sign for each of these. So it's actually very similar to number line. You want to find out the sign, only the sign. The value doesn't really matter. Okay, you don't need the value, you just need the sign. So when x is -5, -5 minus -6, you get -11. So it's a negative value. So you write that negative. Okay, negative. -5 plus 2, you get -3. Okay, but you don't have to write there -3. Just write the negative value. Okay, next, when x equals to 0, 0 minus 6, you get -6. So it's a negative value. And then when x equals to 0, 0 plus 2, you get a positive value. Next, 10 minus 6, you get positive 4, so it's a positive value. 10 plus 2 is 12, so you get a positive value. So now, here, how are you going to find? Since it is a multiplication of these two, right? It's a multiplication of these two. So what you have to do is just multiply the signs. So negative times negative, you get positive. Negative times positive, you get negative. And positive times positive, you get positive. Okay? Now, lastly, when you want to decide which sign are you supposed to use, so same thing, what you're going to do is look at the sign here. Okay? The sign here is what? Less than equals to 0. Because it is less than equals to 0, you have to take the negative sign. Alright, and please, you are only looking at this, yeah? Only looking at the final, the last line there. Okay? So which one is negative value? Obviously, the negative value is this. Correct? So your answer should be this. You're going to see the whole column here. Okay, so your answer is -2 x 6. So you notice all three answers are the same. Okay, so in other words, number line and table method is very much similar and is more work, right? To be honest, sketching method is actually very straightforward, right? Now, last question. Solve each of the following quadratic inequality by using graph sketching method, number line method, or table method. So this is actually similar to the previous question. So the first thing you're going to do is expand this, alright? So you're going to expand, you're going to get 3 times 5, 15x minus 3x squared plus 5 minus x, and then minus 13. More than 0. So now you can rearrange this. Minus 3x squared. You got minus x here and plus 15. So you get plus 14x. And then you got minus plus 5 minus 13. You get -7. Sorry, -8. My bad. -8. Okay. Now, like I said, always try to make the equation become a positive, right? You don't want a negative equation, right? So to make it negative, what you're going to do is you're going to divide the whole thing by -1. Okay, divide the whole thing by -1. So when you divide by -1, what is going to happen is positive 3x squared minus 14x. Now all the sign is going to change because you divide by -1. Then here become positive 8. Now when you divide by 1, the symbol here will also change. Alright, it won't be more than anymore. It's going to be less than 0. So you should get x equals to, x minus 4. Here you get 3x minus 2. So let this equals to 0. So you can say x equals to 4 and x is equals to 2 over 3. Okay, 2 over 3. So now the question is, how do you solve this in terms of inequality? So first thing, use the first method. I'm going to show you sketching method. So sketching method, same thing. It's a quadratic, positive quadratic, correct? Because I already changed it in the form of positive here. Okay, so because it's a positive, it's a U shape. Okay, now your arrow, since I already turned it to positive, so I'm going to refer to this arrow here. Okay, so this is less than. So less than means in here. Okay, so in there is in between what value? Is in between 2 over 3 and 4. So your answer is 2 over 3 less than x less than 4. Remember, you're using less than. Why? Because this is less than. It's not less than equal to. So make sure you use less than. Number 2, number line method. So number line method, same thing. Draw your line. This would be 2 over 3. This would be 4. Okay, now you're going to draw your number line here. So now you're going to make an assumption. What value do you want to put? So here the range is between 2 over 3, x and 4. Here is going to be x more than 4. Here is going to be x less than 2 over 3. So I'm going to assume here x equals to 0. Here x is equals to 3, let's say. And then here x is equals to 5, let's say. Alright, so you're going to substitute into your equation. So what do you get? So when x is equals to 0, when I substitute, I should get negative 4 times negative 2. So I should get a positive value. So here is a positive value. Next, when x is equals to 3, so 3 minus 4, I get a negative value. 3 times 3 is 9 minus 2 is still a positive value. So positive and a negative multiply, you get negative. Now I'm just doing I'm doing it quick, okay? So you can do it yourself by calculating in your calculator, okay? So now x equals to 5. So same thing, refer to your, you can either use this or you can use this, okay? The end result is you just want to find out, is it more than 0 or less than 0? So when x is equals to 5 minus 4, I get 1, positive 1. 5 times 3 minus 2 is also positive. So positive, I will get here positive. Okay, so the question is, which one are you going to take? So since, wait, let me change color. Since in this case, your equation is what? 3x squared minus 14x plus 8 less than 0. Less than. So because it's less than 0, it's a negative value. Okay, it's a negative. So you're going to take the negative part. So in this case, it's going to be this. So what's your answer? Answer is 2 over 3 less than x less than 4. So this is your answer, similar to the first part. Okay, now let's look at the third one. The third one is table method. So same thing, draw your table. You should have four rows and 4 columns. Okay, I'm gonna alright, so you got your table and column. It's just roughly, okay? So what are you going to put in the tree, this tree here? All the brackets, correct? So x minus 4, 3x minus 2. Now it doesn't really matter the arrangement, okay? It doesn't have to be which one is smaller, which one is bigger. In fact, you don't even know which is smaller and bigger, right? So any bracket any place will do, okay, as long as you follow this format, these two boxes. Okay, next, the last part here, the last box, what are you going to put? You're going to put both of the brackets. Okay, now here you have to follow these three brackets, these three box. You're going to have to follow the sequence. Which one is bigger? So 4 is bigger, so 4 has to be here, and this one has to be 2/3. So the range is x is between 2/3 and 4. Here is x more than 4. Here is x less than 2/3. So same thing, I'm going to assign a number for each of these boxes. So x less than 2/3, I'm just going to assume is equals to 0. Here I'm going to assume x equals to 3. Here again x equals to 5. So what you're going to do now is just to determine what are the signs for each of these boxes. Okay, so start with the first one, x equals to 0. So 0 minus 4 is a negative value. 3 times 0 is 0 minus 2, negative value. So negative times negative, you get positive. Okay, next, x equals to 3. 3 minus 4, you get negative value. 3 times 3, 9 minus 2, you get a positive value. Okay, so negative times positive, you get negative. Next, x equals to 5. 5 minus 4, you get positive value. 5 times 3 minus 2, you get a positive value. So positive, you get a positive as well. So how do you know which is your answer? Your answer is based on the question. Same thing, 3x squared minus 14x plus 8 less than 0. Since it is less than, you know that you're looking for a negative value. So this is your answer. So what is your actual answer? This is your actual answer. Equals to 2/3 less than x less than 4. Okay, so this is how you solve sketching method, number line method, and also table method. Alright, so that is all for this video. I hope you find this useful. I hope you learned something from this video, and these are the three main things that we have covered so far. And just to let you guys know is that I've just created a Telegram group, and this Telegram group I'll be sharing notes and also some exercises, and also if I have any live classes moving forward, I'll also host in this. I'll also let you guys know in this Telegram group. Alright, so if you guys want to join, feel free to join. I'll put the link in the description, so feel free to join, and I hope to see you on my next video. Alright, take care.